Hello everybody, how are you? This is Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher. It is Friday, April 28th, and it's the last school day of April, and it's cloudy and it's rainy, and it's spring, right? So it's been a couple of weeks since I last posted, and I was reminded of that this morning from one of my students. For some reason, some of my students have taken it upon themselves to catch up with my videos, and I don't know why. I can't believe that a bunch of 14-year-olds would enjoy watching a 61-year-old make videos about cross-stitching quilting, but more power to them, right? All right. So I hope everybody is well. I hope everybody is enjoying their spring. I'm hoping it warms up a little bit soon. We've had that, up and down weather. It's been pretty chilly this week, but it's not stinking hot, so I'll take it. So I've been somewhat productive this week in stitching, and of course I've been productive in haul, and I've got a lot of plans. So let's get started. First off, yesterday was my birthday, and it's one of those deals that I enjoy celebrating my birthday. I enjoy knowing that I have a birthday every year, because one of these days I'm not. So a friend of mine at school, she knows how much I love Charlie Brown, and she found this at Hobby Lobby, and she's like, yeah, I gotta buy it. So it's a huge coffee mug, but it's got Snoopy and Woodstock and Charlie Brown and Lucy and Peppermint Patty and Linus and Sally and of course Franklin. And I thought that is the most awesome part of this mug. If you're not aware, Franklin was added around 1968 when a woman wrote Charles Schulz a letter about the lack of diversity in the comic strip. And there's a cartoon strip panel of Linus and Franklin meeting for the first time. And I think it's an awesome representation of the times in the late 60s. So, Lucy and Linus are my favorite, and Franklin ranks up there as well. I love Franklin. So that was a friend of mine from school. And my sister sent me this cool birthday card. So what happens is you open it up and you sort of push it together, and there was a cardboard thing stuck down in it. So when you took that out, you were able to push it together and make a little bit of the shape. And then all the butterflies were on another piece of, I don't want to say cardboard, but they're not really paper either. So you punch them out and you stick them on the leaves, and you've got butterflies in your flowers. So I thought that was pretty too. So that's my sister. I don't want it to fall on the floor. So what have I been up to? Well, I'm going to start with haul, because part of my haul was a wonderful birthday present from my dear friend Chris, the camping stitcher. That stinker. First of all, she sent me, and I will link their Etsy shop below, but she sent me this wonderful thread winder that her husband makes. And there's the name of their shop, ScottsMountainCrafts. And I love this because they put the cut line on theirs, and these are pretty cool too, because that way the thread's not falling off when you're winding it. So thank you so much, Chris. She also sent me this cute Friends Are the Flowers in the Garden of Life. I love that. She sent me one of their needle minders that they make. She is the camping stitcher. I thought that was cute. And she has a Cricut, so she punched out some floss drops for me, a whole bunch. I have no idea how many are here, but that should be good for a honkin' huge sampler. She also made me some floss bling, and she made, and this is for Missy at 2 Needles Pulling Thread, whoopie pies. Yes. Missy and I have a friendly battle going on. All right, where are whoopie pies truly from, and who has the best whoopie pies, Pennsylvania or Maine? So one of these days we're going to have a whoopie pie smackdown. So that will be interesting. So thank you so much, Chris. She sent it in this beautiful little bag. Love it, love it, love it. So now I have to start planning for her birthday and see what the birthday bunny puts together for her. Some more haul. I jumped on board immediately and ordered the Mary Gibson sampler exclusive from Hobby House. You had to be a part of the Homespun Sampler group on Facebook. And of course I jumped on this because of all the red. And you had your choice of DMC weeks or I think they're 103s silks. And I chose the weeks. So lots and lots and lots. Whoops. I haven't put them on anything yet. But lots of pretty colors. I love this red. This red is Turkish red. It's really vibrant. So I'm looking forward to that. And the floss came in this sweet bag. And then the called for fabric is Thornfield Linen by Needle and Flax. I got the 36 count. I don't have it opened up yet. I figured I didn't want to open it when I'm not going to start it right away. And I got some cool floss bling. So that's the hat, the house, and the charms, scissors, and so on. So yes, love it. So that's on the list of things to start. Like I need anything else to start. I'm going to have to make a project bag, I think, for this. But I'm looking forward to it. I love samplers. I love the stories they tell. So that's on my list of things to do. I apologize for the crinkling. I also ordered, I don't know why, I was making a Halloween project bag for Tracy at OG Stitchery. She asked me to do a project bag exchange. And I found out that she really loves Halloween. So while I was making it, I found this. It's a scissor fob. But I love the cat. And it also has a pumpkin and a crescent moon with a cat on it. So I love it. I almost threw it away last night. I opened it up and I wrapped it back in its bubble wrap. And for some reason, my brain wasn't functioning on all cylinders and I tossed it in the trash can. Don't ask. Don't ask. My friend Kara at Pink Daisy Stitch, she makes the most awesome floss drops. I told her I want her to, next time she makes them, to like turn on the camera and I'll zoom with her so I can watch her. But these are from the Home Sweet Home pattern by Brenda Gervais. So she sent me about a half a dozen of those. Love them. And I also ordered this off of Etsy from CrocetteaGoGo, or from their website. So there goes my history teacher side nerding out. And the thing about Crochet a Go-Go is that you buy it and then they send you the PDF, but they send it to you and they watermark your address and your name on it. So you can see your name and address in the chart. So I'm guessing that's so you don't copy it, which why would anybody copy it? I also got this pattern. I saw this pattern on Sherry McConnell's YouTube channel. She's at A Quilting Life. And I thought, well, that would be pretty nifty to have to take to a retreat. And I could put scissors and needles and things like that in there. My magnifying glasses, just in case I need them. So that's going to be on my list of things to do. I don't know if I'll get it done before StitchCon, but one can only hope. I purchased a piece of Grace Notes fabric. I'm going fast. Why am I going so fast? Probably because I know my kids are going to watch this. Makes me a little self-conscious. Why? I don't know, because I teach them every day. I'm on the Grace Notes Fabric group on Facebook, and every once in a while they'll, first comment gets it type thing. So I bought a fat quarter of 40 count. It's called Molly. It says light, so I don't know if there's a dark one, but it's sort of a peach. I don't know if you can see it, but it's a peachy pink. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I thought it was pretty. It feels nice. It's not real stiff, but it's not real floppy, if that's a technical term. And I got a little sticker, Happy Juice. I'm guessing that's coffee or tea. And she also sent a little thing of cinnamon stick tea. I'm not a real big tea drinker, so I drink more like Celestial Seasonings in the winter. But always try something new. So I got that. And then on the stash unloading group, I have no idea what I'm going to do with this. None whatsoever. But it's red, and I had to have it. It's from the June 2022 Fabric Club for Color and Cotton, and the color is Flamenco. It's a 40 count quarter yard, fat quarter, and it is the most brilliant red. It's like cardinal red. Again, no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I just had to have it because it's red, right? And I love red. Okay. I need to slow down. I'll be a sloth. I'm only at 13 minutes and I'm almost done with my haul. So another thing I got, excuse me, I need to tear this open. And I don't know why, but I want to say I have a chart that calls for Wren. But it's a piece of 36 count Wren from Picture This Plus. And it's sort of a greenish tan, I guess. I don't know if you can see it. But I think I do have something. It might be a blackbird that calls, or Brenda Gervais, but it calls for Wren, I think. So I snagged it. Why not? You only live once, right? YOLO. And I also got this off the Stash Unloading group. It's a Scarlet House. And, again, I love the simplicity of samplers with words and alphabet because it's all the same color. And it goes real quick. And the nice thing about this is there's only 9 colors. And it calls for either 103 silks or DMC. And I'm wondering what the, excuse me while I open this, crinkle, crinkle, crinkle. The letters are $4.98, DMC $4.98. But I just thought that was pretty. It was stitched on Tobias linen. Substitute linens are Lakeside's Vintage Exemplar or Picture This Plus Legacy. Neither of which I have. But we will figure this out. Right? We'll have a floss pull. Let's see what we have. So I think that is all of my haul. That's all of my haul, right? Which, why wouldn't I have haul? Yes. I have made some progress the last couple of weeks. Some nights I come home from school and I'm like totally wiped out. Other nights I make sure I at least put one thread in of something, and you can see that there was a few days last week, not this week, but the last week, that I totally wigged out and I didn't write anything, except I think one night I said I vegged out, which is pretty much what I did. But I did work on Antong, and I did work on, I did bind a quilt, and I worked on the Barn Owl, and I worked on Teresa Kogut's Mystery, and I changed up my whip go. I knew that the one that was called this month, April, was one of my applique, Lori Holt applique Prairie Meadow quilt blocks, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I changed it up, and I put Antong Ufendel in its place, because I knew I had put all that time into it this month. And I also took out, what else did I take out? Oh, I took out Primrose Cottage, and I substituted Antong Ufendel for that, because you know that one's really calling to me and I want to work on it. So I figured, why not? It's my board, my rules. Correct? So I have to go back in and see which ones were pulled for May. I want to say 23 and 25. And if that's the case, both of those are charts that I haven't started yet. Because at the time when I made this, I didn't have a lot of whips. Well, now I have a lot of whips. So I may go in and change that. I don't know. I should. I should really do that. Or I should just scrap WhipGo altogether and just do what I want. Because this is really starting to stress me out. Part of me feels like a WhipGo failure. I know I'm not. I know you can change your board. And, but I don't know. I just want to do what I want to do. I'm having this urge to start working on a quilt again. And I pulled one out that I had buried back there. And I did work a little bit. So it's the foundation paper piece from It's So Emma and Lori Holt. It's the Sparkle Star. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. And these are 6-inch finished units. And paper piecing, foundation paper piecing really isn't that hard. So the thing about foundation paper piecing is that you put the paper, the fabric goes on the paper, but on the back side. And so you're actually sewing with the paper up and the fabric down. So here I am. This is where I am on a few of them. And what I had done was cut up a bunch of my 30s prints. I went on a 30s binge for the longest time. And so I cut a bunch of 6.5 inch or whatever squares. And so I put a little dab of glue, smack that down, and then you cut the rectangles and you sew along the line. Okay. And so I have a whole bunch. What I got done was all these orange ones. And I also got some blue ones ready to go. So like here's the square blue, and here's what it looks like. Excuse me. And so I have all those to go through. And I have quite a few left. I have all of these left to do. I have them in groups of 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. And so eventually what happens is once you, and I don't remember if I showed this ages ago, but I'll show you again. So what happens is that you end up with, first of all, you end up with a whole lot of plastic storage because you got to have a box for each project. So you end up with, excuse me, these still have their paper, the paper on them. So this is what I get. So then I take the paper off. I have a whole bunch I need to take the paper off of. And you end up with your block. So then I'm going to put them in pairs, and then I will put the pairs into 4s, and you can see where the star is where these pieces come together. So it's going to be sort of organized, scrappy, lots of different colors. And when I have it all said and done, I think it's going to be a queen to king size. And I don't think I'm going to put a border on it because I think it would ruin the look. And not every quilt has to have a border. So, you know, I'll pick a color of binding, or maybe I'll just use a scrappy 30s binding. I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. So these are the pieces that I cut off when I do the star points. But if you're interested in learning how to do this, excuse me, there's a tutorial over on the Fat Quarter Shop YouTube channel, and I will hopefully remember to put a link down below. It's really, really not that hard. Like I said, what I do first is I put the fabric and I do a little dab of a glue stick to hold that square. And then I just pin the corners down. So then when I do my corners, I will take the pin out and I will fold back on that line right there. And I use this add a quarter ruler I put this edge on the line, and then I fold it back and I crease it really well. And then I sew, and So this is what I have. You can see that I've sewn on this line. The paper's still here. So this is what I have. I've sewn on there. And you trim it off. You trim off the, so like this would be here. And I trim off the rest of the color. So, and then when I take the paper off, I'll trim them all down to the size I need. But like I said, it's hard for me to explain it on here, but if you go to the Fat Quarter Shop, they have a tutorial, and they have a whole bunch of different foundation paper piecing tools. They have log cabin and courthouse steps, square and a square, pineapple, I think they call it a kite, but I think some people might call it a hummingbird or a periwinkle. I'm not sure. And so the thing that's nice about them is that keeps, when you're sewing those pieces together, they don't stretch. And that's the goal. You don't want them to stretch. So that's another thing I pulled out. As far as cross stitch is concerned, the other night, Chris the Camping Stitcher and I host a once a month stitch meetup with Zoom, and we started using like highlighting a designer each month. So we've done Hands Across the Sea, and we did Plum Street, and the other night we did Teresa Kogut. And I'm a member of Teresa's Patreon. You can join month by month if you choose. You can. There are 4 different tiers. Tier 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, tier 1 is the least expensive. Tier 4 is the most. But of course, the higher you go, the more you get for your money. So in tier 4, we get, I think, 3 charts a month, which totally blows my mind that this woman can generate 3 charts a month. And a lot of times I think these charts are ones that she does and she releases to her Patreon, and then she releases to the public later on. And last year she did a mystery that I came in on the end of, and then she released the chart at Market in March. I think it was Strawberry Manor. And this year she's released one for Patreon, and it's, I think, going to be a 6-part. I'm not sure, but here's the beautiful colors. I don't know if you can see them. It's mostly, I mean, it's a mix. You have your DMC, which I put on my floss drops, and then there's some Weeks dye works and some classic color works, and one lonely Gentle Arts wood rose. So they're very, very classic, very primitive. I almost want to say she designs in almost like a shaker style, if you're familiar with that. But her designs are beautiful, her paintings are beautiful. And so what I had done was the 6 stars on the side, and the other night when we were talking and stitching, I got that part of the border done at the top. So that tiny little square is, you know, the rectangle area, like between the stars, and that was the first month's release. And it's done on Cedar River linen. Cedar River linen is wonderful, very nice, and it's on, I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. Sorry. But it's Cedar River linen. So that I did get a little bit of progress on in the last couple of weeks. And see, this is what I mean, you know. I mean, WhipGo stresses me out. So if I want to pull this out and work on it, I'll pull it out and work on it. I'd like to be a little more organized, which I know goes against my mantra of being the disorderly stitcher. But I think sometimes that when I get a lot of whips, I get overwhelmed, and then I really stress out. So that's not what I want it to be. I want it to be relaxing. I want it to be enjoyable. So who knows? I also got some progress done. Last weekend, my husband and my grandson went to a Cub Scout camp weekend. So I hosted a Zoom Stitchy meetup with some of my Stitch friends on... I put the link on my Facebook page and on the Camping Stitchers Facebook page. And this one's by Lori Holt, and she uses a lot of the same colors from chart to chart. I think her favorite red is the 347 red. It's kind of a classic red, but you know, you get all the colors. Very nice. The ones I have the hardest time finding are the ones that are like 02, 03, 04. And I think I pirated that from another chart that I don't think I'm going to do. But this one is called You're the Boss. And that's one of Lori's mantras is you're the boss of your own quilt. So you want to change the pattern, change the pattern. You want to change the colors, change the colors. You're the boss of your own quilt. So again, this is really easy because I stitched the frame of the stitching and that's all gray. So now I know, I could shoot for one block at a time, one quilt block at a time. And these words aren't going to take long because they're all the same color, which happens to be, I believe, the 347 red. So this is where I am. Let's see if I can put this bag behind it because it is going to show through. This is where I am. I think the last time I showed it, I had some of this done and some of this done. Well, I finished this one, I started this one. So I can see this one. It'll be done hopefully by the end of the year. And the nice thing about this, it's 25 count Lugana, which it goes quicker than linen because it is an even weave. So sometimes I need the magnifier, the lamp that magnifies. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I can get away with my magnifier glasses, my old lady glasses as some people like to call them. So I got some progress done on that, and I also got some progress on my Barn Owl by Cottage Garden Samplings. I don't know why I always get them mixed up. So there's the Barn Owl. This was last year's monthly release, so there was 12 different animals. And I think I mentioned before that the only one I bought was the owl. Here comes the cat. So these are the colors. It's mostly DMC. So, there's this really brilliant blue and some greens. And then the weeks are carrot and grits. So, and I got some progress on here. Again, it's like if I can get a thread done, I'm good. So I did start filling in the face. I love those eyes. Absolutely love those eyes. And that one's done on It's on, I think it's 36 count Valor by Picture This Plus. I don't think it's 40. So it'll probably end up about 5.5 by 7.25. And I'll get that one framed. And I like the rustic frame that they put it in on the cover. I haven't decided if I'm going to get any more of the animals. If I get any more of the animals, I like the pileated woodpecker. That's the real big woodpecker with the long beak that Woody Woodpecker was modeled after. If you know who that is. If you're old enough, I don't think my kids will know who Woody Woodpecker is. But pileated woodpeckers are those birds that, you know, you might see. You probably hear more than you see. We did have one in our yard one time years ago when the twins were little. There was a dead stump down at the corner of the yard, and I looked out and I was like, oh my gosh, there's a pileated woodpecker. Never seen one since. And finally, I did get some progress on Antong Ufendel. But I'll tell you what I got done was, it took me all Sunday to do this one motif, and I'll explain to you why in a minute. But again, here are the beautiful colors. They're all DMC. I chose to do the DMC. DMC is a wonderful floss. And honestly, when you have this many threads to invest in silk, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26 times, let's see, around 5. I think NPI is around $5 a skein, so 20 times 5 is 100. It's $130. Now, have I spent that much on silk? Yes. But it's not something I go out of my way to do all the time. And some of these colors she called for 2 skeins, so I went ahead and put 2 skeins on it. But these are on different floss drops. These are from Jess, the Sweetwater Stitcher. And these beautiful lovebirds are from Kara. Whoops, let's see if we can do this. There we go. Kara at Pink Daisy Stitch. And she also sent, I love these. I love the old advertising. She did those for me. And of course I have some of them on mine, and I have some of them on Floss Biddies from, lighting is terrible, from Fat Quarter Shop. Sorry about that. There it is. So anyway, so Antong Ufendel. And, you know, I figure once I get through this one, I'm going to have to plunge through and get through her sister, Isabella. So I had not known when I bought this that these here, these are satin stitch. And the way they explain it is the old, you stuff it. And Chris, the camping stitcher, had an excellent suggestion to do cross stitches in that area and then satin stitch over it, so that if it shows through, it's going to show the color of your floss that you need anyway. Light bulb. But what I worked on last weekend, 2 weekends ago, was this over 1 motif. Okay, so the majority of this is 1/2, but there is 1/1, and I will tell you that I blessed this many times over. I don't know where my husband and my grandson were. My grandson could have been over at my in-laws, and that was probably a good thing, because Nana was not being very nice. Because if you've ever had, ripping things out is bad enough when it's 1/2, but when it's 1/1, it's not easy. So, yes, kitty, I see you. You're so weird. Let me find where I can show this to you. I mean, I did get a couple of the larger motifs done, but then I started working on that 1/1. So it's not full crosses. It's tent stitch. And tent stitch is, sorry, I'm moving it around. Tent stitch is when you just go in one direction. You don't do the full cross. So that when you look at this, honestly, you can't tell. The only reason you would be able to tell is because I told you. Unless you are a cross stitch connoisseur and you can see it. But I'll tell you what, I did try to do full crosses and it wasn't going to work. So, yeah. So that's one. So my goal is to, make these larger motifs across the top and around and, get inside the border every once in a while and work on it. But she calls to me. I sound like Moana. And I'm going to work on it, which is why I put her on my Whip Go twice. And that's why I feel like I want to just chuck Whip Go and just pull out what I want. Make a list of things that I'm working on. Put away things that I'm not, that I haven't even started yet, that all I have done is kitted, and go from there. I like the way that Olivia over at Pumpkin Hollow Quilts, she calls it a 2-week rotation. And, I think that's pretty good. I think that would be a pretty good idea. It would go against my goal of doing whatever I want to do, or my idea of doing whatever I want to do. And I know some people that do that because they will take their book of days or their calendar or whatever and they'll mark down, okay, these are the projects I'm going to do this week. These are the projects I'm going to do this week. And the nice thing about that is that you see some consistent progress in those pieces. So I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. But that's where I am. And so my plans are just to continue working on these projects, to continue working on like I said, my barn owl is really calling me in, and Antong Ufendel is calling me in. And as much as I want to start Mary Gypsum by Whilst Iris Naps, I'm resisting because I don't need another start. And I need to stitch what I have started. So that's what I'm trying to do. And of course the problem with me is that with school, it's the end of the year. We have about, sorry, I just popped some bubble stuff. We have about a little over a month. Our last day is June 2nd. And of course it's that crazy month because, there's this interruption and that interruption and yada, yada, yada. And it is what it is. And I know that I am not, unfortunately, going to get as near to the end as I should because I just simply ran out of time. So, you give yourself grace and you move on. So that's where we are at school. So my plans are to make it to June 2nd and work on this quilt a little bit because I would like to get it done. I try to, get a quilt worked on or maybe even completed, at least once a year. And I haven't worked on this in quite a while. And I have so many quilts cut. Well, I have like 4 or 5 quilts cut out and I'm not working on them. And I need to do that. And I have all this fabric sitting here and I need to use it. And my husband keeps saying, well, you're getting all this for when you retire. I'm like, okay. Oh, the other thing I did was I took my pillow that I had finished a while ago and I put some pom-pom trim on it. Now, I did not sew it. I probably should have, but I did not. I glued it down, and I used Aleene's tacky glue, and honestly I think it looks okay. The red might be a little bright against the red in the tomato pincushion, but again, it works. And this pattern is from Helen D. It's free on her webpage, East Coast Crafter, and I will link that down below. I got to make sure I remember what I'm linking. And that's that. So the one thing I need to do is start thinking about StitchCon. I am going to be there weekend B. I am driving to Cincinnati. I figure if I can make it to Pittsburgh in a torrential downpour, I can make it anywhere. And I learned how to drive in Northeast Ohio snow, so I'm good. So I'm driving to Cincinnati, and according to Google Maps, it's going to take about 6 hours, but 6.5 maybe. But that, of course, is if you drive nonstop, which is not going to happen. So like I said, I'll be at weekend B. I have to get things together for my smalls exchange and what projects I want to take. One thing I did learn when I went to Pittsburgh is limit the number of projects. I ended up having 9 in my backpack, and the only thing I really worked on You're the Boss a little bit, but then the only thing I really worked on was Anton Ufendel, because I wanted to get that blankety blank border done. And it was done. It was messed up one little stitch, but it was done. So I figured that's a win. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So that's where we are. And look, I even made it last 47.5 minutes. So that's where we are, and I do hope that you were able to stick with me. I hope that everyone is enjoying their stitching, and I hope my students enjoyed watching me again. You know who you are. Weird. And I will see you again in a couple of weeks. And happy stitching. Please remember to click the bell so you can be notified when I post a video. Like and subscribe, and we will call it a done deal. All right, take care. Bye-bye.